Welcome to Very Scary with Gerry McCreary. I'm your host, Gerry McCreary. Tonight we'll be talking about the fearsome, the fiendish, and the fantastical. Today is day 111 of Coronapocalypse 2020, aka the I Told You So show, Helen.
You're just not going to stop it, are you, Gerry?
No, because I've been talking about the end of the world for years, decades even, and it's
I
finally
know.
happened. Yes. You've been a naysayer this whole time. So all I have to ask you is, did you wear your mask to the grocery store today, Helen?
So, Gerry, even if you are right, and I'm not actually saying that you're right, but even if you are right, there's an old saying about clocks and broken clocks, and I'm sure you can get the rest.
Yes, yes. I think that's,
You know what? Actually, I probably gave you too much credit. I'm just going to say it. Even a broken clock is right twice a day.
I'm personally fond of broken clocks. They have a lot of character. And speaking of character, we have a new one on the show, Anna Morphic, Miss Anna Morphic. She is our new intern. Can you say hello to the audience, Anna?
Hello, audience.
So Anna is going to be helping us out with odds and ends around here. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Anna? She transforms. She claims to be able to turn into a different creature, animal, object on a weekly basis. And today she's got a lovely fur coat.
Well, part of the fur coat thing is I have been a little behind on my grooming. Speaking of which, I was supposed to come on as a hairdresser, I believe, and you all look lovely, don't get me wrong, but I was really looking forward to grooming you too. Would have been so nice.
Well, unfortunately, the orders are out that you're not allowed to touch people's faces, so we're trying to avoid that. And truth is that I'm in my bunker deep below the surface of the planet with an undisclosed location. So it would have been difficult for you to get to me anyway. Yeah, well, we've got speaking of helping people out remotely, we have our sponsor tonight. The sponsor being Velvet Venus, where your happiness and satisfaction is in the palm of your own hands. These are Velvet Venus virtual massages, by the way. So that's in the world of social distancing, they're really helping people out. And we have a couple special guests on tonight. We have Windsor Whately, who is the leader of a local religious community, and he's going to tell us how they're reacting to the virus outbreak. We'll also be hearing from Dan Harris, who will be playing some great music for us. And of course, we're going to be getting a special report from the Time Flusher, John Coile, one of our favorite guests. He'll be coming in a little bit. But first, let's hear some scary news. Helen?
Yes. Here is the scary news from today, April 4th. 2020, the scary news that I navigated away from. There we go. The cryptozoological community is in disarray as more and more people shelter at home. Vampires are going hungry as fewer homeowners are inviting them inside. By contrast, monsters living under beds are working overtime as more residents sleep in. It's good to hear that someone is working. Smog monsters are feeling out of place in large metropolitan areas. Slender Man is now fattening the curve, and aliens have resorted to starting their own dating app, Prober, in hopes of finding new humans to abduct. We all wish them luck with that. The planet could do with less humans. Gerry, I'm going to pass this over to Anna to give her a chance to experience reading your scary news stories.
Oh, I think that's a great idea. That's a wonderful experience for an intern there. Anna? Anna, do you have a news story for us? Oh, I guess Anna must...
Well, hi, here we are.
All right.
I put my paw on the mute button. Sorry about that.
So, it's tough being a cat.
Yeah. Anyway, I have this in Hastings, Nebraska. There's been a rash of break-ins among quarantined households. Residents complain of a rotund man in red blowing through exterior walls and leaving pitchers full of what's presumed to be the man's own blood. When confronted by one homeowner, the man in red cried, "Oh yeah!" and then ran away. bleeding profusely from his head. Police have no suspects at this time.
That's a crazy story. Thank you for sharing it with us, Anna.
Gerry, I have a question about your news stories.
Yes, Helen.
Do you vet them at all?
Well, I think that's what we hired the intern to do.
Yeah, I understand. You'll believe anything, won't you? Is it possible that our intern may have gotten her wires crossed and mistaken for a news story what is actually an 80s commercial for Kool-Aid?
I do watch a lot of TV, and people all look the same to me.
Sounds to me like Anna did the research. But we've got more research on the horizon here. We have a returning guest we've signed up as a correspondent in these trying times. Let's get ready for John Coile, the Time Flusher. John, are you there? John?
Hey, whoa. Oh, it's a good thing that I don't get sick anymore, but when I did get sick, at least I'm in the right place when that happens.
Well, that's right. Yes, it looks like you're in, you've got a fine toilet stall there today. That all the better for time traveling.
Doesn't smell that bad either.
So I need to start with a hot button issue right now, is that we have been dealing with a scarcity of toilet paper. Is that going to still be the case in the near future?
The near future, yes, but I have good news for you. At a certain point, I'm going to say roughly in about a year and a half to 3 years, you're going to develop a technique that no longer requires toilet paper.
Oh, really? What kind of, will we be using bidets, or what will we be using?
Very similar. The French did come up with it. They call it the demolition homme technique. It involves using the crustacean shells of different sea life.
Oh, okay. So is this going to be, where are we going to get these crustacean shells?
The sea and the ocean.
Are they just going to come up through the toilet, reverse flushing, or how will that happen?
Well, that would clog the toilet in reverse if you tried that. It's going to be delivered, much like the money that the government promised you. They're going to start sending these out in care packages to everyone.
Will they all have Donald Trump's signature on them?
Oh, absolutely, and likeness, which makes using them that much easier.
Oh, I can see. I see. So, what is there going to be any difficulties for those who are landlocked, as opposed to folks that live near bodies of water?
Well, the problem is, of course, the United States Postal Office service is going to go down in about 3 months.
3 months?
Yeah, I know.
Well, then what's going to be replacing it?
FedEx.
FedEx. Okay, and they're going to be delivering seafood.
It's all going to be privatized.
Okay. So private seafood. They're going to be? Is it still going to be regulated? I mean, are we going to be risking food poisoning from our?
It's in the bathroom. It's in the bathroom. Of course, it's regular.
So, okay, great. Well, John, now is this how far in the future are we looking right now?
Well, again, remember with the string timeline and alternate reality theories, there could be a chance this doesn't happen at all. But if it does happen, like I said, in the next 3 months, you're going to see Postal Service die. And then roughly between a year and a half and 3 years, you're not going to have to worry about toilet paper at all. In fact, if you want to get a jump on it, you could start going out and doing some deep sea diving for stuff.
Well, I'll a snorkel is something that I do have in my back storage cabinet. So
start keeping it in your bathroom.
John, hey, I want to thank you for coming. We're going to keep in touch with you in coming weeks to find out what's going on in the near future.
Sounds great. All right. Until next time, Gerry.
All right. That was John Coile, the Time Flusher. We'll hear from him in upcoming episodes. So, let's see here. We're actually, it's time for us to have our first guest here, Windsor Whately. He's the leader of a local religious community. Windsor, are you there? Windsor?
Yes, I'm here, Gerry.
Oh, well, indeed you are. That's a fine piece of headgear that you have there.
Well, yes, I called it my Mask of the Red Death. I thought it was rather apropos.
Well, yes. Edgar Allan would be proud. Well, I know that the government is recommending that we all wear masks.
Yes, that's why I have this.
Yes, but one thing I can't help but notice is that it's not covering your mouth, which is the primary region they want you to be covering with the mask.
Really? Well, that's just your opinion. I think it works very well.
Well, we can try polling some of the audience members as they contact us by email and whatnot, and see what they think about it.
If you saw me, would you want to get closer than 6 foot to this?
Well, you're talking to
That's an
someone
excellent point.
So, well, it's good to practice social distancing.
Yes.
Yes. So, so why don't you tell us a little bit about your? Well, speaking of social distancing, how is that affecting your congregation? Since you're not supposed to have gatherings of larger than 5 people right now, or 5 or 10, depending on the state you're in.
Well, I am the high priest of the fuzzy wisdom sect. It's kind of an offshoot of the starry wisdom sect. It was from back in the 1890s, you see. And we meet in my secret underground lair. And normally it takes at least 13 of us to summon one of the mediocre old ones. But with this whole no more than 10 people can gather, we're barely able to even scringe up a minor ghost. It's terrible, I tell you. People are languishing in their own homes without being able to worship properly.
So, Reverend Whately, is it Reverend? Is it Reverend?
No, Jerry. I prefer Archmagus.
Margus?
Archmagus.
Marcus? Marcus?
Magus.
Okay, so
Magus.
Marcus Whately. Really, it is a pleasure having you on the show here tonight. I'm getting notified here that we have some questions from the audience. Anna, do you have some questions that is some emails or texts that we?
Oh, absolutely. The first one was from a little while ago. Mr. Whately, you asked if someone wanted to get within 6 feet of that, and apparently quite a few people would. It seems to be more appealing than you realize.
Are you worried, Mr. Whately? Are you worried about infecting people?
Oh, no. You see, we assume that whenever the stars are somewhat agreeable, the mediocre old ones will rise and destroy the world. So a little minor infection is going to do nothing at all.
So you said the mediocre old ones? Was that what you called them?
Why, yes. Many of you have probably heard of the great old ones, but we decided that we would start working with the mediocre old ones. They're so much easier to contact, and they aren't quite so picky about what they want. We have a few of them. There's Shep Nicorette, who is the sheep with a couple of dozen slightly off gray lambs. Oh, and then there's Mo Tinnitus, who is also known as the Whistling Madness. You can hear him at night when it's really dark, and you can woo in your ears. Yes. We also have Gnarly Bo Peep, who is also known as the Fuchsia Fera. And of course, the most important of them all, Kazulu, who is asleep beneath Lake Michigan in his city of O'Reilly.
Oh, wait, can you show that? Can you show that again?
Yes.
That's just adorable. That
There he is.
Adorable.
The great Kazulu. Yes, one of the mediocre old ones. We just find that it's so much easier to deal with them when they don't have so many picky needs.
Well, it looks like we have another question from the audience here. Anna?
Yes, everybody kind of, is grateful to have an explanation for that horrible sound they hear in their ears at night. But also, was there a mediocre old one that governs those pieces of popcorn you get stuck between your teeth?
Oh, yes. The great old maid, as she is known. It is her desire to drive men to madness by infecting their teeth with small particles. She sometimes will use pieces of chicken or even beef strands to do the same thing.
Oh yes, those are awful. It's so well done, I guess.
Yes.
Jerry, you're ignoring it, but we've had a caller trying to reach you for the last 5 minutes. Are you planning on answering this question at all?
I didn't think that we had given out our phone number, so I'm surprised that we're getting a phone call. But yes, I'm ready for. Let's have the caller. Is it cool? Am I reading this correctly? The Cohuland Luke, Cohuland Luke. Are you there? Hello? You're on the air, Cool and Luke. Mr. Luke.
Seems to be some problem there with the tech, Jerry.
Oh,
Can,
well, it
can,
looks
can
like
you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Luke.
Can you hear me?
Kahula and Luke, you've got a question for Mr. Whately, for Reverend Marcus Whately.
I has a lot of questions for Mr. Windsor Whately.
Why don't you pick your favorite question?
Okay, my favorite one is, why are you causing so much trouble in the world of mythos by worshiping silly little mediocre gods?
Well, that's a very good question, Mr. Cool Hulu and Luke. Well, you see, the problem is the great old ones, they're so full of themselves. They spend all their time sleeping or making plans or, oh, I can't possibly come to the world because the stars aren't right. I think the mediocre old ones are so much more open and willing to work with us.
Looks like we have another question here from a caller. Anna, did you have a question?
Yes.
Fundraising?
There's a bunch of people asking about Mr. Cool Hand Luke.
Oh,
They thought they certainly thought that he'd look a lot more like Paul Newman for some reason. Who's Paul Newman?
He makes all that salad dressing.
Oh, right. I think I've seen his commercials.
yeah, he was in a movie called The Sting, and I can't help but notice, Mr. Luke, that you have, or Mr. I think I've been mispronouncing it. Is it chorizo, Mr. Chorizo? Looks like you have some stingers on your snout there. Is that what's going on?
No, then there'll be my grab a face. I use that to grab things.
A grab-a-face. Is that something that you can buy from Amazon?
There's only one in the world. Don't drive yourself crazy trying to find it.
So I guess the question here that I think is on everybody's mind here, Les, is we understand why you're worshiping the mediocre old ones, but why not worship the great old ones as well?
Well, I think the problem is it's all about the rituals. I mean, we get together, we do our chanting for like 15 minutes, then we make our sacrifice. And I see that there's some nervousness out there about that, but don't worry, it's not like little cute puppies or anything. It's pretty much Cheetos and Mountain Dew is what we sacrifice, and then we play role-playing games for several hours. At that point, we feel that we've done our jobs and we can go back to our normal lives without causing any problems. When you have to deal with the great old ones, you end up growing growths and tentacles. You end up spending your whole life dressed in strange clothing, and sometimes even end up descending into complete and utter madness.
Well, bless your heart.
Thank
Sacrifice. You sacrificing your waistlines, all you're sacrificing.
Oh,
That's a good question there, Mr. Whately. Are you getting fat?
oh, I know. I'm still very svelte. My servant brings me only the most enjoyable food. Perhaps the filet mignon, whatever that good stuff that rich people eat. That's what I have. Yes.
So you have rich people food.
Yeah. Oh, I gulp rich people food daily. That's because the great mediocre ones give me all manner of treasures and wonders for being their arch magus.
Sir, I gulp rich people. The whole people.
Well, sometimes I don't.
Jerry, your guest here, if his brains were leather, he wouldn't have enough to saddle a June bug.
Well, Mr. Hulu, we've allowed you to have several questions on here tonight. So thank you so much for your questions and comments.
Can I say one thing before I go, mister?
Sure. One more short thing.
Fangulia Magnagof, Cthulhu Raw Ragnal Fataganag.
Ah! Ah!
Well, that's almost musical. That's almost musical. Can you?
That was terrible. That was Aklo, the ancient speech of the great old ones. It can drive you to madness as well as giving you a nasty ear infection.
Oh, well, I'm mad about those lyrics. I think they need a new tune. So, hey, Mr. Whately, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been very insightful. We'll hope to have you back some other time.
Winnie, I made cookies.
Mom, I'm doing an interview.
Oh, is that little club?
It's not a club, Mom. It's a cult. What kind of cookies are they?
All right.
Ooh.
Well,
I do know my servant has brought me nourishment.
That looks yummy.
Windsor.
I'm feeling like some cookies. I'm feeling like lots of things that I can't get right here in my bunker. And
Windsor,
one of
tell your
those is
mom I
a
had a
word
fun
from
time
our
last night.
Oh,
Mr.
listen, you squid-faced, narcoleptic, fish-smelling beast! You take that back.
Okay. I'm sorry, folks. We're gonna have to cut you off. Helen, could you please cut these callers off?
Of course. I would be thrilled to cut these callers off, Gerry. It would bring me so much joy.
I think it's time for a word from our sponsor. Are we having? Is Anna, our intern, doing it this time?
I was thinking this was right up her alley. It's certainly not up mine.
Anna, did you want to read the?
I am looking for the text. I have so many screens and they're all being very, very puzzling here. Let's see.
Helen, I'm not sure that. I think
Oh.
the text was. You have it? Well, I just want to tell you that Velvet Venus has been supporting us for a long time, but it's just become that much more important now that it's so much more difficult to get a massage. You see, in the isolated world, we don't get to touch one another very much. But Velvet Venus, well, they're able to create that virtual sensation. They'll create. You put on. You look at the camera. You'll see the setting of a massage parlor. You'll hear the soothing moans of people in adjacent rooms that are also receiving massages. You'll occasionally hear the voice of your massage therapist and the calming new age tones awash over your ears. Velvet Venus is really helping people out with virtual massage. Velvet Venus, where your happiness and satisfaction is in the palm of your own hands. All right, we are going to move on here to our musical guest, Dan Harris. Dan, are you out there? Dan, do we have you with us?
Hello.
Mr. Harris.
I'm here.
Wonderful to
Can you
have
see me?
you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm not seeing you. Are you, Helen, do you see him on screen?
I'm on video.
Maybe we can set him as the.
Let's do that.
Is there a
Yes. I'm
different
going to put
setting or
you on
something?
spotlight here, Dan. Dan, I've got you. Is he there now? Do you see? There we go. Dan.
Yeah, there he is.
Dan, thank you for joining us tonight. How is the quarantine treating you?
Thanks for having me.
You betcha. So,
Still,
so now our show is about the fearsome, the fiendish, and the fantastical. And I was wondering, what category would this song that you're going to be singing tonight fall into? Mr. Harris?
all of the above.
All of the above.
All of the above. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. We got a little bit of delay in the video, but we can hear you. So,
Okay.
all right. Well, why don't we? But are you doing okay? Are you playing much music to folks around the internet?
No, I'm not.
Well, all right. Well, we're happy to have you on here. We know that you're normally, under normal circumstances, you're a very active musician. So you
Yes.
have a band called the Renegade Rooster Band. Is that correct?
I do, yes. As a Renegade Roosters, and I play on my own. I've been hunkered down learning a Bach cello suite on
Oh,
my mandocello.
a worthy endeavor.
My octave mandolin, and I've spent the past month completely focused on it, and so that's why nobody's heard from me, because I'm almost there. I mean, that's the kind of music that I'll be working on until, I don't know, maybe 3 years from now, 4 years from now, maybe a lifetime, but I can read all the notes on the page. So that's something.
That is something. That is. Now, are you going to be playing for us the scariest thing that you could get from Bach, or do you have something different?
Oh, no, I'm going to play you a song about aliens tonight.
Oh, just right up our alley. We'd love to hear it.
It's way different than Bach. I think he would have been a believer back in his day, but he didn't write anything about it. I'm really sad that he didn't. That's why I'm exploring this Bach cello suite, just to see if there's some hint, some innuendo, some little suggestion that perhaps he was visited or believed in our brethren in the sky. But I haven't found it yet.
Okay. Well, I'm really psyched to hear your song. So why don't you, if you want to play it, please do.
I will play it for you.
Fantastic.
If I can remember the words. Let me tune my guitar here.
All right. While you're tuning, just want to remind people that Velvet Venus Virtual Massage Parlor, that's where your happiness and satisfaction is in the palm of your own hands. Oh, you feeling good? You ready? All right. Okay, Mr. Harris, please take it away.
I saw an alien, he was riding a horse out on the plains of Montana. He had big white eyes, long sad face, he was missing both of his antennas. I pulled over to the side of the road and just tried to take a photo. The alien, he saw my car, rode his horse on over. He said that Mars needs cattle. Mars needs cattle. Their ships fly fast on bovine gas. Mars needs cattle. He said they sent him on a mission down to the planet Earth. Go steal a cow, not any old cow. Get one with the widest girth. But they gave him a clunker spaceship. It was built 100 years ago. It was not equipped with a modern cattle lift for cows fed on GMOs. Mars needs cattle. Mars needs cattle. Their ships fly fast on bovine gas. Mars needs cattle. Well, the first cow that he tried to abduct, it was too heavy for the mission at hand. He fell to the ground, he was out of luck, an alien in a foreign land. The government came, they took his ride, and the burger fried the remains of the cow. He was all alone, like a clam at low tide, the victim of a technical foul. So he took the name of Jesse James, and he put on a cowboy hat. He got a job as a roadside attraction, I bet you never imagined that. Oh no, well, Mars needs cattle. Mars needs cattle. Their ships fly fast on Mars needs cattle. Well, the last time I saw that alien, he tried to take my phone. He didn't even ask, just assumed it was free. He grabbed it and dialed home. So I punched that bug-eyed alien right in his ugly head. He fell to the ground, dropped my phone. I thought for sure he was dead, but he wasn't. He got up and said that Mars needs cattle. Mars needs cattle. Their ships fly fast on bovine gas. Their ships fly fast on bovine gas. You know their ships fly fast on cow farts, baby. Mars needs cattle.
Yes, thank you so much,
My
Mr.
song
Harris.
work.
Dan Harris, this has been a fantastic time. You are.
It was definitely the best part of the show.
Oh, Helen, you're such a hype
Well,
woman. So
I heard that part about the aliens getting their new dating app, and I'm begging, please abduct me now. Please, just do it. I will pay you.
we'll see what we can arrange there, Mr. Harris. Dan Harris, once again, big round of applause for Dan. That was wonderful. All right, folks, we're going to be heading out here. I just want to let you all know, give special thanks to Dan Harris, Windsor Whately, of course, and to our special correspondents, John Coile, who came in earlier. Let's not forget our producer, Helen Spitz, our trusty intern, Anna Morphic, and there are several folks behind the scenes I want to thank. Muriah Summer, Anna Yale French, Les Seasbolt, Troy Fleur, Michelle Bowman, and Andrew Miller. Now, don't forget to stay wary because the world is very scary.